Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining today to go over the webinar for Myovision One, the integrated traffic management system that connects it all. My name is Alejandro Silva Barron. I'm the product marketing manager for Myovision One. Today, we're going to go over the product. We have, next slide, please. So first, a little housekeeping. As you all know now, the microphones are muted. If you want to talk to us, definitely use the chat feature and let us know where you're connected from and see where in the world you're located. And provide any comments live during the presentation. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session. So please write all your questions on the dashboard. This webinar is being recorded, so you will have access to a replay on our website later on. And let us know if you have any technical difficulties, so we can through the chat, so we can work them around and make sure that everything is running smoothly. Next slide. So today, I'm joined by Danilo Radivojevic. Sorry about that. He's the product manager for Myovision One, the platform, and Brent Rogerson, who is the director of sales engineering for Myovision One. Hi, everybody. We're going to be talking about Myovision One, the new platform that we announced a couple of months ago at ITS Dallas. We're going to do a tour of the applications that make Myovision One. Later, Brent will do a demo of the platform so you can see how it works. It's working live today. And we'll give a little overview of what the future holds for Myovision One, so you know where we're going with the product and all the exciting features that will be joining the platform and make the traffic management solution more stronger and robust. And at the end, like I said before, we're going to have a Q&A and answer all the questions that you may have for us. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Danilo so you can start giving a presentation.
Thank you very much, Alejandro. It's a pleasure to be here and present today. Thank you all for attending. Let's switch to the next slide, please. Before I start talking about what Myovision One is, I would like to start with actually why we're building something different. And I would like to start by discussing first the needs of the users. So for example, let's take an average traffic management organization. Now, they basically, users use different applications, interact with different hardware, have different interfaces, and manage all that through separate contracts, which makes it not very efficient and streamlined, which in turn, next slide please, makes the operations a little bit time consuming and more costly than they are supposed to be. Also, that process takes time, so sometimes by the time we accumulate all the data and we find out what's going on, we may be already too late to actually implement the change that we were supposed to implement in the first place. Next slide, please. So let's assume a situation where we have an average, let's say, traffic operations agency, and as a member of such an organization, you probably have needs to monitor and maintain your traffic network equipment right in the field, and you need some sort of intersection monitoring and maintenance. Aside from that, you may need detection, and that has to be configured and working properly in order for your system to perform as expected. Then you may even use the adaptive traffic signal control in some locations with high volatility of demand. Then you may even utilize some form of ATS-PM solution to quantify the performance of your operations to know how well you're doing and where are the potentials for improvement. Or you actually have needs for collecting volume and demand counts, so those can be used in studies and analysis of various kinds. Can we continue, Brent, please? Yeah, so all these are examples of different applications that, let's say, an average user needs to interact in an agency. And on top of that, we have a myriad of devices of different types. We have traffic signal controllers, we have conflict monitoring units, we have battery backup units, we may have even CCTV cameras of different kinds that are all integrated in the workflows of users in traffic management agencies. So if that makes you confused, or anxious, or maybe sometimes even frustrated. It's understandable, but our goal is to try to help with that. So let's focus on the application we have. So we have multiple applications, and now imagine the scenario where instead of having to log into all these separate applications, you have one login to access them all. Imagine if you have the ability to define a location configuration once and being used within all those applications. That's exactly what we did. And all those applications now live under a new Myovision One platform, which was, as previously mentioned, recently released and made available to public and our existing users. So as you can see, that is a platform that integrates the data from various applications, brings it together, and makes traffic management easier, less time consuming, and less costly. At this point, it basically has the ability of the traffic link solution that Myovision already provided. You will recognize certain instances like intersection monitoring, detection, performance, mobility reports, etc. But the capabilities of the platform will grow over time. So in order to speak more about the platform, I would like to start, as we always do in Myovision, from the user. We have a user that has a certain need that has to be solved, and our response to those needs is building the Myovision One platform that hosts various applications from Myovision portfolio in the cloud. So that is the first component and the first layer of the Myovision One platform. However, all those applications need to interact with the field, and on the field level, there is Myovision Core as a device which basically allows us to deploy applications on a device level and not only on the cloud level. So even right now, we have two levels. Now, you may think, okay, but Myovision will not develop applications for every single use case we need. And to be frank, you're probably absolutely right. But by making Myovision One modular platform, where it's very easy for us in Myovision to add more applications and integrate them together, we can do the same thing with third-party applications from other companies. So for example, if a third-party company wants to deploy some micro-mobility application in the cloud, that's very possible to be integrated into Myovision One, or maybe pedestrian safety application, for example, be deployed on the Myovision Core, or let's say freight signal prioritization, basically that can be deployed in both, let's say, cloud or device level. The point is, it is extendable and interoperable, so third-party applications can easily be added to the already existing Myovision application portfolio. And as the final component, there is the data layer, where the data that Myovision One stores and aggregates can be made available to various data subscribers or integrators when there is a need for such an event. Can we go forward, please? And why is Myovision One important? Well, there are a couple of points I want to make here. First one is that we have common identity access management, and I already brought that up. You log in and authenticate into the system once, and you don't have to do it again for various applications within the platform. Secondly, the platform utilizes CI/CD, or continuous integration and continuous deployment, which allows us from Myovision to make changes and deploy code much faster, and if necessary, more frequently than before. And finally, there is a UI and UX component where the applications within the platform will have and use the similar design language. So users of applications within the platform will have the same look and feel, which will help immensely with training. So if you're familiar with one applications, other will feel very similar and natural, and onboarding new users and ramping them up will be much easier. So to recap, before I hand it over to Brent, what is Myovision One? It is a platform basically that encompasses applications and use cases from both ITS and data collection and traffic studies markets. Currently supports the use cases and has feature parity with existing traffic link Myovision applications. However, over time, other applications will be added into a comprehensive platform solution. Now, my colleague Brent is going to give us a tour of the applications.
Awesome, thank you so much. So yeah, I'll go through the tour of the applications here, just go through what features and tools we already have in the Myovision One platform and give you a kind of a demo at the end of what the look and feel of all of this is. I'll focus on the application. So as you kind of heard, this is a little bit of a process, and we're going to be moving applications into the platform over time. We have all of what was traffic linked before into the platform already in a way that you can interact one-for-one with Myovision and traffic links. So eventually we're all going to be in the Myovision One framework. So if you're an existing user, what you see as traffic link today has already moved over, and I'll go through some of those applications and kind of show you what the look and feel of that is right now. So all of the applications, as you saw, are being merged in, and we have intersection monitoring, detection, mobility reports, performance, adaptive, and our studies. And if you're an existing user, you'll have a context of what some of these already mean, and you'll be interacting with some of these already in the platform if you've already had a chance to log in. So the first one, the look and feel is very similar. This is one of the major applications of our platform today. It is one-for-one in Myovision One. You'll see some slight differences that I'll maybe highlight a little bit more in the actual demo itself. But first is the My Network view. So on login, you actually go into your network view. You see what's going on in the network, see active alerts, really see how your network is performing. So focusing on what critical alerts may be existing and what other alerts may be going on. So a series of alerts like power loss, flash, all the typical alerts that were in there today that we classify as critical. And then the non-critical ones, which are like detector threshold or preemption stuck-ons or device level things going on in the traffic count. Intersection monitoring is all about interacting with your cabinet itself and understanding what is happening in the cabinet, translating that to historical trend level information. How often are intersections going in and out of issues? How much are they, what is their time to resolution if you're actually keeping track of, say, like response time on issues that are occurring? How often is their uptime? Have some trend level information at the intersection level, and then ultimately just get a live view of what is the intersection today. So intersection monitoring is a lot of managing your network and landing in your network when you first log into the platform. Translating that into alerts, so that can take any kind of form between email or text message and can be sent to you as you wish, but it can become a text message or an email as it is today. One of the obvious major feature sets that our core products are built around is the core device itself, the core DCM. This is the connection point of the cabinet side itself. So in the diagram that you saw earlier, you saw that there was a user interacting with the cloud, interacting with the device, bringing what the real world is in the physical space all the way up to the cloud space, so that you have almost a digital replication of what's happening, and that is facilitated by the core device. With the core device being in the cabinet, the main function of that device is not only the communications and the monitoring aspects, but it's the detection application. Most of vast majority of our customers would buy us for the detection application today, the detection tool sets. This operates at the intersection, and Myovision One is simply the tool that you interact with that tool, with that application in the platform. So it gives you the access to configure, gives you the access to switch to here, give you the access to configure it, configure the cameras, interact with the device itself, do some remote configuration of it and keep it operational, watch the video, make sure it's working the way you should expect it to, so it gives you that remote visibility of what's going on, as well as manage your detection component out in the field. So this is, I'll go through a little bit of the navigation a little bit, but you can see on the left toolbar, the navigation is slightly different with the configuration and video being housed together, so you can interact between the configuration video a little bit more seamlessly and get to the heart of what you're trying to do when you're in the platform, improving the workflow from what it was previously in traffic link. Performance measures, monitoring not only just the infrastructure states through signal statuses and the detection product actually interacting with the cabinet, just understanding performance is a big focus of our tool set. There's the existing tool sets that If you're a Detection Plus or a performance measure user today, you're in the platform interacting with some of our occupancy metrics or some of our travel time metrics, and you can generate those charts as they were today in our ATSPM workplace tool, where you can create a story around the operational use of the intersection, looking at demand use, looking at saturated scenarios, arrivals, allocation, occupancy. So really looking at how well is the intersection operating generally. With that, we've actually merged in a high-res version of that, and you may have previously heard this referred to as TrafHub. But these tool sets are based on the high-resolution data set. So since we have a device in the cabinet, as well as a network connection potentially, you can leverage the high-resolution capabilities of your traffic controller and increase the value of what the performance measures tell you. So evolve from just looking at occupancy of zones and just the video analytics applications, all the way to insights and understanding of where congestion is occurring, where travel time is slowing down, where are your arrivals, where are the peak hours, things like that really get broken down into a much more robust tool set, leveraging the high resolution data set, merging those into the platform together. So the major difference between the two is looking at sources of data, and one of the major sources of data typically is the SDLC connection in the cabinet. But with the high resolution data set, we can leverage NTCIP and high resolution data as well to provide a much more robust tool set on performance. So you have a complete tool set between intersection monitoring, detection operations, and performance of the intersection, all in a single platform of operation. The next item is mobility reports. Many of our existing customers would think about this as data link. So formerly in our platform, we had a tool set that gave you access to the continuous counts. This is in the platform today. It's still available as it was. It provides the turning movement count chart with the daily profile information, as well as all the classification breakdown of the daily volumes, and allow you to export that information from the platform and interact with that. That was previously a new window that would open up, and you would interact with it. With the launch of Myovision One, we've improved that tool set with a tool called Mobility Reports. Mobility Reports is actually leveraging the data itself from an API perspective, which gives us a lot of ways to present the data in a more robust way, whereas Data Link was a little bit more, the way it was designed was more rigid in design. It was hard coded into the system, where mobility reports are API driven, allowing Myovision to customize how we want to view this data a lot more rapidly. So as user feedback comes in, as users interact with this tool set, we can change it more consistently based on user needs, not just a hard-coded tool set. So mobility reports have already allowed us to introduce a new tool set, a new chart here around daily volumes and long-term trends in counts. So we do have the single day volume charts, which give you that daily profile of classifications, as well as the total volumes, total class of each one of the classifications, and summarize that in different ways. But we also have introduced a daily volume chart where you can interact with the trends level of the data, because in many ways when you're actually looking at count data, you're looking for consistency in data. How typical was this Tuesday compared to last Tuesday? How is this a reliable use of data to actually make improvements on my signal, or is it the reliability of how consistent is Tuesdays versus the previous ones, or weekends versus weekday? Looking at this trend level chart, you can actually make a better assessment of data over a longer period of time versus the single day use chart here. So we get both charts at the same time to help you interact with your data in a better way, as well as export it into the typical CSVs and PDF and images that you traditionally have been able to. So a new introduction to the platform with Myovision One launch is the mobility reports, and I encourage you, if you have a continuous count subscription, to go in there and play around with the mobility reports, and we're really excited to hear some of your feedback on it. The last one I'll show before I go into the platform is just quickly talk about adaptive signal control. Adaptive has been a tool that has been a part of the Myovision suite for a little bit now, and we have been migrating it into the platform, and it's part of the Myovision One structure now. If you're not familiar with our adaptive solution, it's the Myovision SureTrack system. what SureTrack allows us to do is take in the multimodal detection, take in the signal status, interact with the traffic controller in the way our device already does, but add a adaptive analytic, adaptive control layer to it, where it can in real time actually improve the optimization of the signals. So we focus on a real-time adaptive tool set that's decentralized by the devices. So that means each one of the devices are actually talking to each other, providing information and optimizing the network in real time. One of the major foundational components of that is the multimodal benefits of our video detection. So not just optimizing for vehicles in a corridor, but actually looking at bikes, pedestrians, trucks, buses, everybody else in the corridor, so that we can optimize for everyone, not just a vehicle travel. And this helps keeps it balanced and allows City to deploy multiple different types of strategies, and then have the monitoring tools, the detection tools, and the performance tools to help you monitor the outcomes of that as well. Creating an optimization not just for the traffic flow in a corridor, but in complex grids. So this allows you to apply it in a major urban center, or along arterials, or even along mixed-use areas where you have, say, high-level pedestrians and bikes in certain times of the years and very low in other types of the years, and it'll self-optimize based on the multimodal users. This really allows us to focus on real-world traffic problems and help give you the tools to manage your network end-to-end and optimize it at the same time. So some quick views of what that looks like. Pulling in some of the views, if you're an adaptive user already, some of these will look familiar. But looking at the network level optimization, where are all the vehicles in the network today? Starting to optimize the detection and creating schedules of vehicle arrivals to improve optimization, as well as looking how our optimization and adaptive is actually interacting with the traffic controller, so that you get full visibility end-to-end of the whole process, while ability to measure the performance of it as well. So I'm going to give you a quick demo here. I'll go into the platform and just do a little bit of a walkthrough of the tool itself. And hopefully this shares my screen. So I have a quick little demo here of the account itself. You can see I'm in Myovision One right now, and if you're curious, it's Myovision.one. If you're an existing user, you can log in with your current credentials and interact with Myovision.one right away. You'll see a few changes. Up in the top right, we have our intersection name now. It's moved slightly over to the top right. In the bottom left, where I have my little initials here, I can click on that and I can manage myself in the account. I can my admin settings, set roadside configuration, data usage, manage some users, manage essentially my organization. So I'll manage which users have access to it, manage my notifications, and manage my logout, if all from the bottom left here. So it's a little bit more streamlined on actually interacting with my administrative tools. It's down in the bottom left, right next to my support icon. If you ever need support at any time, you can click the support icon, and our friends in support can respond to us and see our system statuses and system updates and make sure everything's operating the way you expect it to operate, and subscribe to messages and notification of our system. So you can interact and administer the account as you need. I'll go back to the main screen here. So along the left, you'll see the tabs have changed slightly a little bit. So on the top tab, you can see that it says My Network. Then the next one down says intersection monitoring, then detection, then performance, then mobility reports. So I'll quickly go through each one of those. When you're on intersection monitoring, it gives the sub tab of the map, the telemetry, the video, and the alerts, just in a little bit more of an organized tree workflow through the intersection operation and use. So you're really looking at interacting with, if you're looking at the map or the telemetry of this intersection, we can simply click there. When you're actually building a network or you're in the installation phase, you go up one to My Network. On the My Network button, and that little Myovision symbol is a button, so you can click there, and it brings you into the configuration. And if I just exit out of this intersection for a second, it puts you right on the map, and you can start adding more intersections. You can create a corridor. You can manage your devices and do the file storage items of the intersection directly. So you can manage your network and your devices pretty seamlessly. The next tab down brings us back to intersection monitoring. And we'll load up here. So we got our single intersection here. I'll click on it. We'll open up the telemetry page, and we can see the live view of the intersection. So it gives us our signal telemetry page where we see signal telemetry, pedestrian signals, and our detector statuses, as well as our historical view. And if you're familiar with traffic link today, you can tell that it already looks very similar one-to-one, exactly how you would interact with it previously. On the map, we have an overlay of that information as well. Next tab down of intersection monitoring is the video itself. So same applications exist here with the live video access. We can look at the detection overlay or the 360 video itself, and both operate and manage our detection. So that's what the detection overlay is. Let's see if we can get this to load up. It wants to do it for me. There we go. And so we have a live view of the detection overlay where we can just see what's happening. It looks like there's lots of construction there today. So you can move those detection zones around if construction is causing you problems, or you can look at the 360 video and use all the exact same feature sets that existed for intersection monitoring, where you can zoom in, pan around, see how this construction project is going. You can also see the water across over there, see what's going on at the beachfront. You can manage your alerts, just see what's going on historically at this intersection, which during our testing, you can see during early June when we installed this. We actually installed this for a trade show. It's a trade show demo cabinet. We had it going, doing some testing for power on, power off alerts and just making sure everything was operating as expected. You can see all the historical statuses of your alerts. Next tab down is detection. And we can start working through the detection features themselves. So this intersection here, we are going to look at just the configuration workflow. I'm not going to actually go through the configuration because that'll take some time, but you interact with configuration and you can see it's very similar to the workflow today, where you can create new templates, or you can edit existing ones and configure your detection zones, your count zones, and your crosswalk zones, and then interact with what is configured for each items for your channel sets. Also view your history and see who else has been configuring this or whatnot. Again, video links through detection as well, because if often when you're launching detection, you're actually looking for the video as well. So we made a quick link to the video here from this page too, just to help with navigation, allow you to interact with your detection system just the same. Performance measures are a subscription add-on for the system, but there are a series of charts that do come with our Detection Plus offering. When you're looking at performance measures, this brings you to a tool where you can start creating charts, and we have our existing SDLC-based charts here, and or NTCIP, or even the high-res will show up here in these different charts, and you can interact with the performance analytics of the system. The last piece I'll show, actually just before I do that, so counts as it was before follows performance. So the original data link counts that we had gives you a link here to the previous data link charts, so that we haven't necessarily removed anything. The turning movement count access is here, but the next tab down, which is what I want to show you, is the mobility reports. And you can interact with both those charts that you saw in the previous slides. We can interact with the single day counts and really just get into the data sets themselves. And so the mobility reports gives you a much better interactive tool to interact with your turning movement counts, but very similar design in the sense we can look through all the different types of categories, classifications. We can look at pedestrians, bikes, bus, all 6 categories that we have. Gives you a quick overview of the total day. You can change aggregation methods, date ranges. You can go all the way back in time from the beginning of when it was collecting and pick very specific filters that you want to use to look at your data and export these data sets as you wish through downloads or through the download options, and then refresh different scenarios. So you can look at those. If I click back, there is also the trend level data here, or if you click on this chart, there we go. It'll load up the trend level data. Since this has only been installed since about June 5th, you can see where in the data it started collecting. And then every day since it's been installed, we can see the total volumes and the consistency of it, providing a total average across days. So we can really see a full view of our traffic over any period of time. Right now we're looking at 30 days, but you can arguably put this up to an entire year if you wanted to, and look at all of your data all at once to see if there's any outliers, event days, things like that going on. So lots of refresh in the workflows, lots of tool sets integrated into the platform, and gives you a much better navigation to using the tools. I'll just jump back here. So if you're really interested in learning more, please go to our website, and there's a myovision.com at Myovision One there, and you can see some videos and some overviews of what the Myovision platform is. You can also reach out to us, and we can provide one-on-one demos and/or training of your current platform, and we can make sure that you're comfortable in using the new tool set. It's really exciting, and there's a lot to unpack in there. So with that, I'll hand it back to Danilo.
Yeah, thank you, Brent. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I would like to touch upon what is next and what is upcoming in Myovision One, so you have an understanding of what is going to become available. So if you're talking about a period of next couple of quarters, I mean, obviously the intention is to continue adding applications from Myovision portfolio into the Myovision One platform. That means that TrafOp, which is currently a separate application, will be integrated, and then Traffic Link's existing ATSPM and TrafOp will be merged into a single, very rich experience. Studies experience, where our current customers use TDO and Data Link, will be added as well. Same situation is with the adaptive, where RapidView will become a native application within the platform, but at the same time, SureTrack, the decentralized component of the adaptive system, would run on the device application platform on our Myovision core device. With the acquisition of GTT, the preemption and priority control solution will be integrated in the platform as well, which is the same case as with road safety video analytics, which will be added in the platform following the recent acquisition of MicroTraffic. We already touched on application platforms. That means that we will continue to expand the capability of our application platforms to host our own and third-party applications, both in the cloud and on the device. And last but not least, we want to enrich also the base functions of and base features of the application of the Myovision One platform, which means what we have in plan is to create a new location configuration experience, which will be common for all the applications within the platform, which means configure once and then don't really do it again for any other app, because all apps will utilize the same one. Or sharing between organizations for agencies that have a need to share their locations with their, let's say, neighboring agencies, or if let's say they're in a larger system of a state network with different regions or districts, that will be supported. On the other hand, if we talk about the improvements on the existing apps which are already in Myovision One, over the next few months, what will become available is phasing and telemetry signal status overlay on video, which will allow users to see video feed, detection actuations, and signal output statuses concurrently if needed and desired. Also support for pedestrian clearance extension by passing the information to the controller if a pedestrian is still crossing the crosswalk, so the extension can be applied. Aside from that, we will try to help with figuring out if program clearances are appropriate by providing vehicle and pedestrian clearance dashboard, where our users will be able to see how long vehicles and pedestrians take to clear the intersection or the crosswalk, so that that can be compared with what is currently programmed. Furthermore, we will add the ability for users to configure complex network scenarios for core devices, both via cloud through Myovision One or direct connection on site. And what I would also like to emphasize that with all these improvements that are coming, the Myovision One will exceed the capabilities of the existing Traffic Link. And the Myovision One will be the place where new development will occur and continue to be done over time. With that, I think we are coming to the Q&A part of our presentation. I hope you enjoyed. So let's see if we have some questions, and if you have not put any questions, please use our chat and question box.
Thanks, Danilo. Yes, and so please do, if you have any questions, use the dashboard and put it in so we can go over those questions. So we have a question around who are some of your customers. So I assume this question is around who is the customer that is interested in Myovision and all the capabilities. So Brent, I guess that you can answer this.
It was just to confirm the question. The question was who is the typical user, or who is the typical customer?
Correct. So who will be someone that will be benefiting from Myovision One?
Myovision One is a holistic approach to traffic management, and so it spans the traffic management team, but also the mobility and the safety teams as well in a city agency. So the main users of this are a collective of city agencies. Depending on the application, could be a different team. So as an example, the detection application is often managed by the signal technicians. The performance and count analytics are often used by the traffic engineers. The adaptive capabilities are often used by the traffic engineers. Priority and preemption are often used by the emergency services, and video is often used by public safety. So the whole platform is geared towards traffic management, public safety, and overall priority management. So throughout that whole group of users, the platform is a great platform to use for them.
Great. So another question that came in is, what kind of base system is required to run Myovision? So what do some customers need to basically run this? What is the base system?
So good question. So you can almost think of Myovision One as the platform for every application. So in any one of the applications, so if say you purchase detection, Myovision One will come with detection. Myovision One is the thing you interact with on the cloud. It's the platform you have to interact with the cloud to manage the detection system. Another user could be buying it for performance measures, and Myovision One is where you access your performance measures, and you don't necessarily need a hardware device to accomplish that. And so in all of the tools, all of the applications, Myovision One is the tool you interact with, is the cloud access you have to that tool set. So now in the application architecture here, you can see that it doesn't necessarily matter where you start or what application you are interested in. Your experience will be consistent across all of the applications, so that when you interact and you try to onboard and train, as you add more applications, the training is just a build on the previous tool, or it's just a single interaction tool set. So it's kind of all of the above to answer your question. I mean, you could start with the detection system and you get Myovision One with detection, or you could start with performance and start using the application through performance measures.
Thank you. Another question, will Myovision One be replacing Myovision Traffic Link in the future?
I can take that one. I mean, Traffic Link is still available for our users, and is going to remain to be available for a while. However, in some point in the future, we do anticipate that Myovision One will just be will have more capabilities and features available in that place, that the customer base will just simply gravitate towards a new solution because it will be more performant and more capable. And at some point, probably it's going to be an easy decision where Traffic Link is not going to be so attractive anymore.
Thanks, Danilo. Another question, so do we lose the ability to have a device listed location of Myovision devices on Myovision One?
We don't. I think maybe we show that, Brent, if you want to share one more time. There's still a device page with a list of devices. We may have not shown that in the demo today, but that capability is still available.
Another question is around counts. So any plans to add peak hour factor, PHF, in the counts on mobility reports?
I do not directly work with the mobility reports, the development. However, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I've seen something like that. Anyhow, we will share this with the group, and if it's not on the roadmap, we will share this info with them. But I think I remember seeing it.
Sorry, my connection just dropped out there. What was the question, sorry?
The question was, do we any plans to add peak hour factor in the counts mobility reports, PHF?
Yes, so the peak hour factors are in there. I guess I didn't quite show it, but you can generate the peak hour factors on the top right of the chart, very similar to how we did the peak hours in the data link platform. And we're talking to some of our users today about how to export that into documentation so that you can pull it out into a document form or into a report form that you can send it on to other stakeholders that want it. So there is peak hours already in there.
Another question coming is there a limit to intersection size with using only one camera?
Yeah. Yes, there is. So it's a product of height versus distance, and so the core DCM that you saw in one of the slides previously, the core DCM does support up to 6 cameras simultaneously. Typically, at a small intersection or a standard intersection, you only need 1, but at the larger intersections, you could do 2. So in some scenarios, you could have 2 360 cameras and 4.
I think we lost Brent there. So your connection is sloppy. Yes. So Danilo, do we have any demos of third-party integrations into Myovision One?
Not at the moment. Remember, we launched Myovision One publicly just a couple of weeks ago, so it is still really fresh in the market. So we anticipate that this will generate some interest with the third parties that are willing to partner with us and build their application. So we hope that soon we will be able to showcase something. But as of this moment, we don't have a demo available.
Another question coming in is, will Myovision, with the open architecture of Myovision, allow the integration of other detection systems?
That is, yes, that is the plan. That is actually the plan. So there is no plan to just keep locking a user into the Myovision ecosystem. As we mentioned already, architecture is open, so we will definitely interact with other systems that are not from Myovision. The only thing we can talk about is what is the scope and what is the depth of those integrations.
Another question about traffic link coming in is, how long will the traffic data online be around?
Can you repeat that? I lost you for a second. Sorry.
How long will the traffic data online be around? I think I assume it's the data that is residing on traffic link today.
I'm not aware of any timeline that I could share at this point.
Perfect. And with that, I think we have reached all the questions that we have. Thanks everybody for joining today on this webinar. It seems like sadly Brent's connection died at the last minute, and so we will thank him offline. And this video is going to be available for you to share with your colleagues at the office. So please do, and once you'll get a notification when the video is posted, so you can rewatch it and again share it with your colleagues, and if you want to know more about the product. So with that, I want to thank Danilo for being here, and I'll extend to Brent the thanks as well. So I'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks for joining.